I just was curious.
Call to order. Michelle Otto.
Here.
Greg Nivens here. Melissa Goodbye.
Here.
Ray Johnson. Here. Jill absent. Please join me in the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I do have one open forum request. That led to item 8F, number 2. It has to do with Army Corps of Engineers grading question from Blue. Any other open forums? I have another addition to number 10C, Montrose Elementary School Essay Contest Miracle Day. And item number 8D2, we will table until December. Any other changes to the agenda? Motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Second.
Second.
Melissa?
Aye.
Michelle?
Aye.
I vote aye. Lloyd?
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0. Consent agenda. Discussion?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda. I'll second.
I vote aye. Melissa?
Aye.
Lloyd?
Aye.
Michelle?
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0 to approve the consent agenda. Right Hand Sheriff? Anything for them? Any discussion? Not good. Right County Sheriff, you're up.
All right,
Perfect timing.
good timing.
And
Hello, everyone. All right. Calls for last month were pretty much standard. I think it was around 100 calls. The only thing I really have to add is the one of the members of the neighborhood watch group called in a suspicious complaint that was. There's a successful end to it, so it probably prevented something from occurring, so applaud the effort on that.
good.
Other than that, sorry I'm late.
It's all right. Thank you. Appreciate
I
it.
have a quick question for you. Any update on needles that were possibly found within the last week or so?
I'm not sure. I wasn't involved with that one. I did hear something about it. I can probably get back to you and let you know
Okay.
what I know or what I can tell you, but I wasn't directly involved with it. I remember hearing about it. That's as far as I got.
All right, thank you.
Okay, moving on to activity reports. Michelle?
I attended community ed meeting, union meetings, council, the Halloween dance. Montrose Days, which they just added 2 new board members, so that was kind of good to see more volunteers come up for that. That's it.
Council
Oh,
meeting.
Park and Rec.
Yep. Special council meeting, personal committee meeting, the 2 neighborhood watch meetings, Halloween event, the feed program and the volunteer recognition event, the VFW meeting, 2 Meet the Candidate meetings, reading for the Montrose Elementary School for Veterans Day, veterans events at Walmart and Rockford schools for the Patriot Pen, Summer Scout meetings, the Eagle Scout project that was just completed at VFW, and taught at University Scouting.
Let's see, we had the 2 weekend events. We had a special meeting, the volunteer dinner, the district community teaching and learning council, our Biennial Ribbon meeting, and reading at the school for Veterans Day. And I think that was it. Anything else I didn't-
All the council meetings and the special meetings, WCAP meeting in Buffalo, the personnel meetings, finance meeting, and a couple meetings with the Meet for the candidates.
Okay, Joe, extension of final plat, Owen Meadows.
Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, if you recall, a plan was approved for Rolling Meadows according to our subdivision ordinance. Applicants have 90 days to file or record a final plat. With some title issues pending, we are requesting for an extension of an additional 90 days until January 20th, 2017 for the recording of that plat. And a simple motion will accommodate that.
So moved, second?
I will second that.
Melissa?
Aye.
Lloyd?
Aye.
Michelle?
Aye.
I vote aye, motion carries 4-0 to extend the deadline. Okay, financial update?
Council, this is just an update after the 3rd quarter has been completed, so if you have any questions, otherwise just a normal update of our expenditures and revenues. And I would spin this around, but I don't know how to use this computer yet. So, need to practice a little more. But we're pretty much right on track. At 3/4 of the way through the year, we could be at 75% of our expenditures, and I believe all of our, with the exception of our bond payments, everything is under the 75%.
Any discussion? Kevin? Fire department.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Attached in your packet is the activity report for October. Any questions that I can answer on that? Glad to do so.
I just have a question.
Yep.
All the gas leaks going on,
You'd have to talk to Excel about that. We just go and make sure nothing's gonna explode, and then we usually leave essentially, so. It's that time of year where the air becomes a little bit lighter and the gas becomes a little bit denser and starts rising, so it's very common this time of year that we get a lot of gas calls, so.
Hiring update?
Hiring update. So we did interviews with, I believe it was 5 individuals. We made kind of conditional offers to move 3 of them forward. One of them denied moving forward just because of some work-related stuff that's changing. So tonight I'm asking for approval to offer conditional offers pending completion of background checks, pre-employment physical insurance verifications to Terry Vanderbeek and Jessica Binkley.
Discussion? Motion to approve?
I will make a motion to approve the conditional offers.
Second?
I'll second.
Lloyd?
Aye.
Michelle?
Aye.
I vote aye. Melissa?
Aye.
Motion carried 4-0 to extend conditional offers to Terry Vanderbeek and Jessica Binkley, first woman that we've had on the fire department, right?
We've probably had 10 plus women on the fire department over the years.
First time.
And then the last item is leave of absence request for firefighter Jeff Daniels effective November 2nd, and it's not to exceed 6 months for personal reasons. And I'd be looking for a motion to accept the leave of absence request for him.
So moved. Second?
I will second that.
I vote aye. Melissa?
Aye.
Lloyd?
Aye.
Michelle?
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0.
That's all I got. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Park and Rec.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. We had our meeting November 7th at 5:30, and you've got it in your packet if you have any questions. I'll try to answer them the best I can. And we did put some of it to other business under new business. The 5 paragraphs on the first 5 paragraphs on the second page was put under other business, under new.
Wendy, when we have the budget meeting in a couple weeks, they're asking to up the budget, would we talk about it at that time then?
Yeah, normally if next year or whenever, if they have any requests like that, try to get them to us before August, before we do this preliminary, because parks is part of the levy that goes in the preliminary budget.
Okay.
So it's easier to do it in preliminary than to try to figure it out afterwards and move money around. So, but we can look at it, I think we probably have some wiggle room. I mean, we're only talking $200.
Okay.
And in reference to the volunteer event, good work on recognizing all the volunteer organizations. I really like the video or the picture presentation, Brew. That was fantastic because it highlighted what the good work that everybody does. So thank you for that. Anything good? Thank you. The Personnel Committee, we met on the 17th of October. We discussed reservations of park facilities and recommended that there be a reservation fee if there's a specific site for that, and a $25 fee if there was electricity that's needed, and then move forward with that with something for the council. Talked about the overtime language for accrual language, and you'll see that in the policy that will come up for the personnel policy. Also added some language in reference to wage compensation pertaining to that had to do with time in pay status as to accrual of vacation. We talked about the water supply plan that Sean is working on, wellhead protection plan that Sean needs to complete as well. The state will do phases 1, 2, and 3 for that because we're under the minimum population that we have to do it ourselves. And then We also talked about a water contingency plan, but the city needs to establish a water contingency plan in the case of an emergency where the city loses availability of water. And Sean's going to work with that as well. We also discussed a complaint that was filed in the Personnel Committee. And that's about it. And Maggie, unless there's any discussion, we'll move on to the personnel policy amendment.
And council in front of you is an amendment to the personnel policy of the October 17th Personnel Committee meeting. We discussed new language under the compensation section. It's in your packet for review. Under overtime, there is proposed language that states actual time work, vacation, and sick time will be considered in pay status or time work for the purpose of accruing overtime compensation. Compensatory time will not be considered as in pay status or time work for the purpose of accruing overtime compensation. So just to clarify how that was accrued. So that's in front of you today for review and
Discussion? Motion to approve?
I will make a motion to approve the new personnel policy amendment.
Second?
Second.
Melissa?
Aye.
William?
Aye.
I vote aye. Sean?
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0. And the reservation documents.
Mayor and council in front of you is a document that I put together. I'm just asking for input. I think at the personnel committee, we discussed kind of the specifics as to what would go into this document. What it is it's a facility use agreement and reservation document for city facilities, like like the baseball field and also like the
Soccer fields?
the soccer fields and then like the pavilion, I'm sorry. And so this is kind of an agreement that I put together at the personnel committee. We decided that it would be, what we want to do is we want people to reserve the facilities and we can mark it as reserved. It would be free, except we were require it to be $25 per facility. If electricity is needed, just because it does take time and for us to turn that on and staff time to turn that on, and also it does cost, energy does have cost. Just looking for input, if you want any changes to be made.
And there was no charge to be posted if there wasn't electricity use?
At the top it says cost for reservations free, and I think that was what was reflected in the personnel meeting. But it would also, by them signing it, it would hold them liable for property damage. If any occur during use.
So there's currently, what you're saying then is no fee to like rent out Carver Field?
Well, right now it's hard because it's a public field, and so people can use it already. What we're trying to do is we would like people to reserve it if it's a baseball field or a baseball team, an outside team, or town team. I don't know. We're trying to push towards the reservation, but at the same time, it is difficult because it's a public field.
I know the surrounding towns charge for the use of any parks, ball fields, city buildings, anything like that. So with the damage that was just happened our field to put this in place. I think that there should be a damage deposit at least of some kind.
So the question I think that came up was, how, we can say that, but if we're gonna require someone to pay for it, but if they're just gonna go use it and not tell us then? At least by this way, we know who's using it, if we encourage them to sign up and if they're gonna use electricity, pay us the $25, and at least we know who's using it. And, you know, if we make them sign an agreement that says they're responsible for it, at least then we have something to go back to. You know, I'm afraid if you're gonna start charging, people are gonna say, well, my tax dollars pay for it, and then I'm just gonna go use it, I'm not gonna tell you.
Right, but like you said, I know that surrounding towns, Delano being a big one, they charge for everything. Anytime you're in the park, it doesn't matter what it is, there's a charge. There's a charge for the school usage, there's charges for community center, everything. Every park you enter, it's, I can't think of what it is offhand, but, and you have to reserve, like, way in advance, but, I don't know.
I mean, at least
It's up for discussion,
if we
so.
get them to fill this out, we'll know who's there. you
Right,
know?
right, and how do we determine then what the you know? So if they say they're responsible for damage, how do we determine the damage? Is there like, just putting Carver Field as the example, you know, it was $200-300. You know, how do we set that limit?
The one thing I would add is, on that question, this is nice and broad. It really allows the city to determine what the damage is. And so if you do something, you itemize what the damage is, when the Public Works prepares that or what, that would be a nice document to have to say, here it is, $400 of damage or whatever. We can back that up. And then I'll also add that, I don't know if you have like nonprofit groups or other groups that use parks. I haven't seen a lot of that here. In other cities, I see that, and then you can sometimes require an insurance policy from them to be given to you as a protection. So they get their own insurance, and it's an umbrella policy or what have you, and they just deposit that with you if need be. Those are more for the bigger events.
Any other discussion? Motion to approve?
Are we gonna put those changes in?
Didn't be a change to the document, right?
Didn't you say you got them to add that to this?
Well, I guess the question for the council is, do you want to, charge, and then that might be a fee ordinance question for the park. And if you don't, then do you want to change? I think this document is fine for what you're trying, because you're starting out sort of from nothing, really. I mean, and so see how this goes, and if you have this damage in the future, then it's going to be hard to enforce these away because you have to peg it on to somebody to go after. But if you can, you have the authority here to go after them for property damage.
So you still need a motion, right?
Yep.
All right, I'll make the motion to approve the facility use agreement.
I'll second it.
I vote aye. Melissa?
Hi.
Lloyd?
Aye.
Michelle?
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0. Okay, Public Works, cleanup day. Any discussion on that?
Before you today is a memo that was prepared by Anna, going over the expenses and income from the 2016 cleanup day that was held in last May.
Do you remember what the items were in 2015? How many M's you have in there?
I don't think we had as many this year as we had in previous years.
I don't recall.
I don't think we had quite as many.
If I were to guess, it was half of what it was, or this year was half of what it was
Yeah.
before.
Approved. Army Corps of Engineer grading. Any question on that?
We do.
Good evening, council. My question for you and Sean and Justin. I understand that there was a meeting with the Army Corps of Engineers recently, to which no one from Park and Rec knew about it. And we would think that since it's a regional park, that somebody from Park and Rec, whether it be the liaison that's on council or one of us, would have either been invited to be there or at least had notice of it. Since it is a public park, anybody that would have wanted to go to that meeting, I would think, should not have been turned away. Is that a correct statement?
I think so. I don't know if it was posted or not.
There wasn't a quorum, so.
I know it's on out to let people know.
I guess we felt, I don't know if Sean or Justin wants to speak, I guess. At the time, the Army Corps of Engineers requested to meet with staff. It's just a very preliminary meeting to discuss kind of lodging, just kind of what they wanted to just go out to the site and kind of review. It's just it was hours of engineering talk. I didn't even sit in on all of it. There's going to be another meeting in February. I think it was just, they wanted to meet with, they just requested to meet with staff at this time, just to kind of go over the details, how they were going to be housed, when they were going to come into the community, and how staff was going to work with them to accommodate them. So I don't know, I mean, maybe it's too early to have Park and Rec involved, because I don't think we really talked much about park stuff yet. I think it was more just the grading and how we were going to accommodate them, like with food and lodging.
I would say 95% of it was engineered talk, or going over the grading plans themselves, how they were going to grade it.
And
Which,
how the city was going to.
that was all just,
What the city was going to pay for, what they were going to pay for. So we really didn't have a lot of.
There was no determinations made of any kind
no.
at this meeting. It was more of an introductory, face-to-face, this is who we are, this is who the Army is. Like Maggie said, it'll be in further detail in February. I did mention it to some of the council members prior to this, that they were coming, and the initial time slot was for 2 days. It lasted less than 4 hours, so they were in and out and gone. There was a couple different council members that came in after the fact that, you know, it was a lot shorter than what we thought it was going to be.
I guess just from my perspective, it would have been nice to know, you know, instead of hearing gossip around town after the fact, so. My secondary question actually is more for Justin. When the original grading was going on, and Sean and the city guys were out there, and your company had done surveying out there, they did all of the grading that they needed to do per what you had up there. And then it came back, you guys came back and looked at it again, and it had to be redone. So my question is that, did the city, and whether the city general fund or Park and Rec, get charged twice for that? Or did we get any credit for that? Having to redo it?
No.
Yeah,
There was a section that was, there was a swale that was added. It wasn't really added, it was not installed correctly to begin with. After we looked at it, there was a swale that had to be brought to grade up further in the backside. And being that this is our first attempt, we were not that savvy reading the stakes, so once we got everything corrected, it was corrected and we moved on.
Perfect, that answers my question. Thank you.
Okay, orderly annexation agreement, 2016-34, Andy?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. You should have this resolution before you, number 2016-34. This came out after the packet was released last week because I had a discussion with staff at the Minnesota Office of Administrative Hearings, Municipal Boundary Adjustment Unit afterwards last week. And to give you a little bit of context, we've been talking about this for a little while now. The city has 2 orderly annexation agreements outstanding in the town of Marysville and the town of Woodland. They're pretty much exactly the same, just cover different areas, of course. Under this document, basically, any applicant who, as you know, the city's boundaries are pretty fragmented, so any applicant who wishes to be annexed into the city basically follows the process under the orderly annexation agreement to do so. There's an application, there's various processes, a resolution that comes from the council and the town that's at stake, and then it gets submitted to the state. So the problem laid in the fact that, as far as I can tell from many discussions with their staff, was the new, basically, chief administrative law judge who has jurisdiction over these agreements was interpreting the applicable statute differently than most everybody else was. In the agreements with the 2 towns, there is a process for the applicant to pay money to the township, basically, because, of course, the township is losing tax revenue from a single-family residence, for example, moving into the city. Probably not a lot of tax revenue, but some tax revenue is being lost, so there's a payment that's supposed to happen from the actual property owner. Well, the statute at play here, section 414.036, says that the city needs to make the payment to the town instead of the property owner. There is language in their statute that says that that's what should happen unless otherwise agreed to by the city and the affected town. So we were under the interpretation that, well, these orderly annexation agreements that you have, that sort of governs that question, and the property owner is still subject to make a payment to the town. The administrative law judge disagrees, and of course they basically hold the leverage because they have to put their rubber stamp on this when it gets filed with that office. So after some back and forth, other cities are running into this as well. I prepared some changes to what it is in the orderly annexation agreement that is at fault, and that's before you in this resolution tonight, and I wanted to kind of get their reaction to that so I don't have to go back and forth in a forever tennis match here about what's the right language. So section 5 in this resolution goes through the changes in our agreements that we are going to make, and essentially what I was going to do then, since the agreements I have are sort of older and in PDF form, I'll make a Word version, make the changes, and then have that signed, assuming that you get the authorization tonight. The changes in overall are relatively minor because we're not talking a lot of money here. So at the bottom of the page of the resolution, the first page, section 3A refers to the annexation agreement, and I put the new language in bold there. And that first part is saying that the property owner shall submit a petition to the city for annexation, and then later on, the city we may want to have a discussion about a fee to charge a property owner who's trying to move into the city. Because you'll see later here, my other changes, I'm having the city paying the township the various fees that are in your annexation agreement. For unimproved land, $250 per acre. For improved land, the greater a flat fee of $300 or 5 times the amount of taxes due to be collected by the town in the year the property is annexed. And I only changed the bold language there. I changed property owner and city. So everything else is in the agreement already. Those fees have been in there for years. So the fact that the city needs to make those payments to the town, we may want to have a discussion on charging something in your fee schedule for petition for annexation, that the city could collect a fee up front, which I think you do have escrows that you collect up front and such. But hopefully the goal would be to have the city basically not paying out of pocket for this, or if you are, very little. And in the last section, 3E there, that I'm changing. I'm just taking out that payment of the 100 feet of the township because the petitioner or the property owner is not paying that fee anymore, according to the state office of administrative hearings. So those changes basically will bring your agreement into compliance with what they're looking for. And I put it in a resolution format to sort of call out the changes, and then if they're agreeable, we can have those signed in the actual agreement itself.
Any discussion? I would say that we need to have our fee schedule in place at the same time that this is approved, so the fee schedule matches.
Yep.
So we don't end up with cost negative when we do an annexation. We have them pending already. And then, are there any comments regarding to the proposed language of the orderly annexation agreement?
So Andy, would we need to do a new resolution then for those two pieces of property that are pending right now?
I've been told we do not need to do that because we're sort of cobbling together the correct language they want to see with this item tonight.
Okay.
So that should not be necessary. But what will be necessary, as the mayor pointed out, is we all have to work together to get the fees straight up.
My question is, one of them is ours, of course, so there was no fee. The one that's out there that's pending, they've already paid a fee to the township. So if we just change the language for now, we wouldn't have to collect from that
I
person
think
and
that's
pay
correct.
again. So we could change our fee schedule starting like January 1st.
Right.
You know, when we do all the new fees anyway.
Is that a December council item usually?
It's usually, I think, at the January council meeting.
As long as we don't end up with a void where we end up paying out.
Which we shouldn't, because we wouldn't have any new annexations before that, so.
Just looking for a concurrence, Andy?
Yeah, so basically, a motion or a roll call to adopt this resolution. You know, I have a signature block on the second page, and then I will tweak the PDF copy of the old agreements that I have, and we'll get those signed up as well.
Let's do a roll call. Concurrence, Michelle? I vote aye. Melissa?
Aye.
Lloyd? Aye. Yeah, concurrence.
Thank you.
Let's move forward and get it finalized. Any discussion on planning and zoning? Maggie, city planner?
Okay, as you know, Mayor and Council, on October 17th, our current city planner, Joanne Fowles with the Municipal Development Group has informed staff and council that she will be leaving her position with the city. She has accepted a new position. The city needs to discuss how to move forward with filling the city planner position or vacancy. The EDA duties will be transferred to the city clerk treasurer. Staff is recommending that the city look at consulting again with Northwest Associated Consultants with city planner Bob Kermis. He is here today. He has been our planner in the past. He knows the city very well. Staff feels that he could step into the position very easily and work with staff very easily since he has a history and knowledge. I looked at other cities in the area, and a lot of cities also work with NAC. Other cities work with Terramark. I'm familiar with Terramark. They're an independent, or he's a solo independent city planner. But yeah, so the other cities also work with NAC. So if Bob wants to come up and answer any questions.
Hi, Lloyd.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. Yeah, there's some familiar faces here and some that are not so familiar, so I know you probably don't know a lot about me. I don't know if you want a quick biography or...
Give us a quick background.
Okay, I'll try to be quick. Well, I'm from Fargo, North Dakota. Attended North Dakota State University. I have a bachelor's degree in architecture, a master's degree in community and regional planning. I've been in the planning world for 30 years now. 2 years with the city of Fargo right out of college, 3 years with the city of Eagan, and 25 years with NEC, who I'm still employed with. I presently serve as city planner for the cities of Loretto, Afton, and Elko Newmarket. Previously, as mentioned, I've served as the planner here in Montrose. I believe it was 11 years, 2001 through 2012, I believe. Beyond that, I have worked with some of the staff members, a couple of the council people and other staff. So I do feel comfortable with the work. However, I understand too if you're interested in looking at other options. So I was asked to be here tonight.
Is your office here locally, or is it?
Our office is in Golden Valley.
Golden?
Yeah. And that's probably when I first started, our office was in St. Louis Park, and then we moved to Golden Valley. So
That's not connected with what we've got now.
Not connected, I'm sure. I don't know.
Well, in the same company or we got now, or is this your a separate company?
I don't know that it's the same company. We moved office buildings, or we moved from a different, one building to another.
Does NAC have a standard rate, a fee rate?
It varies according to employee based on experience. My city rate as of January 1st will be approximately $122 an hour.
Any other questions? Thanks so much, appreciate it.
Just, if I can just throw something in quick, Bob was our planner, our city planner through all the years of our development. So Bob was involved in all of the development that took place here in town, basically. Like he said, he started in 2001, which is when we started growing. So he's been through all of the development with us.
I did work on the comprehensive plan, the zoning and subdivision ordinances, a pretty big part in those projects.
Discussion on the plan for moving forward?
Do we have to really decide this right away? I think we should look at other firms. So
We don't have to decide that right now.
I make a motion in the table this until January or February.
I think one thing is that Joe will be leaving us at the end of November, which leaves a vacancy. So, I just want to throw that out there.
Let's say table till December, and then let's look at what we have as other options as well. It needs to be decided soon.
Is there a second to Lloyd's motion?
I'll second. To table it to December, or, well, you made a motion to
We
January,
made a motion
February.
in January.
Yeah, January is fine.
Is December okay?
Wish to rescind that, change it to December?
Well, December and January ain't gonna be much going on anyway with those two.
We're
To
in
get a
the
replacement.
middle of new developments.
Because we have two potential developments that are working right now.
Yeah. Yeah, because we got Casey's on our next.
Actually, three potential developments. Cases, two.
Okay, we'll go to December and see.
Okay, so December and the second.
I'll second.
I vote aye. Michelle?
Aye.
Melissa?
Aye.
Lloyd?
Aye.
Mayor, members of the City Council, tonight we are asked to take action on a request for a conditional use permit for a new Casey's General Store to be located at 175 Nelson Boulevard. This is within the B2 Highway Commercial District. Your zoning ordinance allows motor fuel stations within the B2 district as conditional use, provided 12 items are addressed. Those include, and on pages 96 through 99 are details of those 12 conditions, but just to quickly recap, they need to address the motor fuel, the architectural standards, the canopy, the pump island, dust control and drainage, exterior lighting, landscaping, circulation, parking, noise, outdoor sales and storage, and litter control. The Planning Commission conducted a public hearing on the request at their October 18th meeting, and they did unanimously recommend to the City Council that you approve the CUP with a number of conditions. Since that meeting, Casey's has submitted some revised plans, so the conditions that you would see in the Planning Commission packet have been condensed. On page 100 is a summary of the 7 conditions that still remain as a recommendation. One is in addressing the public address system, if there are any at the pump stations, that they not be audible from any property line. That outdoor storage, sales, and service on the site meet the requirements of the zoning ordinance. The landscape in the Highway 12 Boulevard that was planted as part of the MnDOT Cooperative Landscape Grant to be retained. That the canopy plans be resubmitted to meet the code requirements for height. That the applicants submit to the city engineer a copy of all NPCA permits and documentation for removal and cleanup of the existing fuel tanks. And for those at 175 Nelson Boulevard, that the applicant make sure that the existing sidewalk on the north side of Highway 12 across the driveway entrances meet ADA requirements for slopes. And if they do not meet, that the sidewalk, curb and gutter, and driveway aprons be reconstructed as necessary to meet ADA requirements at the driveway locations. And that an operation and maintenance plan be submitted for the grease interceptor. With that, Justin, if you have anything to add, otherwise I believe that incorporates all the comments from our city engineer as well. Included in the packet are a copy of the application from the owner, which is Victoria Convenience Store Inc., and the applicant, Casey's General Store. I believe we have both representatives in the audience this evening. And a copy of the public hearing notice and the resolution that is before you for consideration on page 107 and 108.
Would you gentlemen like to address us? Come on up, we can certainly do that.
Good evening, my name is Jared Sargent. Thank you for having us tonight. I don't really have a big speech, but I'm more than willing to answer any questions you may have.
Concerns?
So all those changes that
You'll
go along with those?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that from the planning and zoning meeting, we met or are planning to meet all of those, and if you guys have any extras, we'd be all ears to whatever you guys have for concerns. Is that accurate?
Yes, a number of them are already going to address. Some of the items, such as the sound of the property line, isn't something they need to resubmit. It's just something they need to comply with once they're up and operational.
I'd like to see it get started right away.
All right.
When do you plan on moving forward?
I would say closing would be in December. As you know, with construction in the winter, probably be in the spring, sometime in March. Usually we start construction within 2 weeks to a month, but unfortunately we're headed into that time of year.
Thank you for forwarding my email.
Yeah, did you get a response?
I did.
Okay.
So thank you much.
Yep.
Okay. Any further discussion? Motion to approve 2016-31.
I will make a motion to approve resolution -2016 or 2016-31.
I'll second that.
Lloyd?
Aye.
I vote aye. Melissa?
Aye.
Michelle?
Aye.
Motion carries
second request, again pertaining to Casey's General Store, is a request for a variance from the city's sign ordinance regulations. Within the highway commercial district, a building is allowed to have wall signage up to 250 square feet or 15% of the building facade, which is less, whichever is less. The plan that has been submitted provides 187 square feet, which is within the limits. However, there's another section of the sign ordinance that indicates that they are allowed one wall or canopy sign per building. The proposed plan illustrates 3 wall panels for Casey's General Store and 2 which promote the homemade pizza to go and subs to go, for a total of 5 wall signs. So the variance request is not for excess signage from a size perspective, but rather to divide the allowable signage into 5 separate signs. The Planning Commission again conducted a public hearing on October 18th. They accepted input and reviewed it as it relates to the criteria for granting a variance. They felt that there was strict enforcement would cause a practical difficulty because of the circumstances. They indicated that the proposed use is reasonable in what is permitted by the zoning ordinance, that it will not alter the essential character of the locality, and that the request is not alone for economic considerations. In meeting the findings of fact, the Planning Commission is recommending the City Council grant variance to allow 5 signs on the building versus the 1 wall sign. And included in your packet are illustrations of the proposed signage, along with the calculations on page 118 provided by the applicant, and finally an variance resolution on pages 127 and 128. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Discussion? Hearing none, motion to approve 2016-32.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2016-32.
One second.
Melissa?
Aye.
Michelle?
Aye.
I vote aye. Lloyd?
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0. Site plan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. Finally, for Casey's General Store, the city zoning ordinance requires a review and approval of the commercial building by the Planning Commission and City Council. Included in your packet is an overview of those items which were reviewed by the Planning Commission as it relates to the proposed new building and zoning. As noted with the conditional use permit, as granted by the City Council, it's now an acceptable conditional use within the district. The proposed site meets the minimum lot requirements from size. The setbacks are all met. They have addressed the required pedestrian and non-motorized vehicle access and off-street parking requirements. A review of the architectural materials and scale have been included. We've granted the variance for the signage. The company has submitted a landscaping plan, an outdoor lighting plan, a utility plan, dust control and drainage plan, and again, address those items for noise and outdoor storage. The fire department is requesting a lockbox being installed on the building, and the city engineer's comments have been incorporated within the memo and the resolution. With that, the Planning Commission has again unanimously recommended that the City Council conditionally approve the site plan. Pages 135 and 136 are those conditions that are noted, and there are 15 of those included for your review. And again, some of them are items that need to be modified prior to pulling the building permit. Others will be those that need to be met once the building is up and operational. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Discussion? Motion to approve 2016-33 contingent upon the recommended conditions.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2016-33, contingent upon the conditions.
I'll second that.
Lloyd?
Aye.
I vote aye. Michelle?
Aye.
Melissa?
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jared. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Joe, on the slide deck, was there any findings in reference to the laundromat there?
I've been in contact with them a couple of times and have not identified any site.
Sunshine. What is that? Monson.
So Mayor, members of the City Council, including your packet on pages 143 and 144 is a request for a permit extension for the Monson Turning Solar Garden. If you recall, in October of 2015, Sunshine applied for an interim use permit for a community solar garden. According to the zoning ordinance regulations, all conditional use permits, interim use permits, etc., expire within 1 year. Due to a number of items, Sunshare has indicated that an extension is needed from that 1 year time period. We do have a representative present if you have questions, but the requested action this evening from the organization is to extend their IUP permit.
Period of the extension?
How long are we
How long is it extended?
We were asking for 9 months. Jeff Bison, Sunshare. Mayor, members of the commission, we're here to ask for that extension. When we received approval, we had 26 items to work out. We've got pretty much all of them done except 2. One that took us quite a while to work on was the development agreement, and that mainly had to do with that interconnection road we were looking at working around, and all the work from Justin. We got through that, so we actually have that agreement in final form. Attorneys have signed it, we have signed it. I'll be bringing that to the city sometime this week for city signature. The main issue that we're having is with Excel, with their interconnection agreement. I'm sure you've seen it in the news, and essentially what happened is they came out with their report, we disagreed with it. Part of the protocol was have an independent engineer review it. That engineer sided with us. Excel didn't like that. They went to the PUC. PUC had a hearing, made some determinations, more along the lines of what we were looking for. That was September 20th. They had 30 days for the written notice to come out, which it did. Excel has 30 days to appeal that, which would be November 20th. I don't think they're going to. Starting reworking all the studies, which will give us an interconnect so that we can sign, they can sign, which is great. However, we're in December, so we're looking at, I think, probably 6 or 7 months would work, but you never know how springs are in April, May. We're looking at starting construction in about April, but with weather here, you never know. So that's one exception.
Any discussion? Motion to approve the extension?
I'll make a motion to approve the extension for Sunshine.
Second?
I'll second.
Michelle?
Aye.
I vote aye. Melissa?
Aye.
Lloyd?
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0 for a 9-month extension.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Rental ordinance.
Apologize, my memo got put at the end instead of the beginning. So at the previous council meeting, there was concern. We had a resident bring up kind of suggesting that we look into a rental housing ordinance, provide minimum standards to safeguard the health and public welfare of residents and their rental properties. And so at that meeting, council directed staff to do a little more research as to what that would entail. So in your packet, I did provide a rental ordinance, like a basic one that was suggested by our city inspector kind of outlines like a basic rental ordinance just for your review. Registration of rental units would assist the city in identifying where rental units exist. Inspection of these units would compel landlords to correct any violations and properly maintain rental properties. And it would just ensure rental housing to be safe and sanitary and operated and maintained. I did speak with the building inspector. They do perform these services. We would, if we did implement something like this, we would make sure that any fees for inspection would be covered with the rental ordinance. So that would be yet to be determined, how, if it would be every other year, every 3 years that these properties would be inspected. We would make sure that those costs cover the cost of the building inspector to do those inspections. So at this time, we will consider, staff will keep looking at additional information, but is recommending that if you are in favor of looking at the rental housing ordinance further, that we would recommend that it goes to the planning commission for further review and discussion.
Discussion? Recommendation to forward planning and zoning?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Okay, just concurrence on that?
Yeah, I think a formal votes.
Yep. Les? Michelle?
Aye.
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 Lloyd?
Aye.
Forward that to planning and zoning.
Sorry, I lost one of my pages. Okay. So at the last meeting under public forum, there was a concern from a resident regarding, this is on broadband in the city of Montrose. Just some concerns about a letter that was sent to residents from Comcast regarding data restrictions. I did do a little more research on this. It does look like Comcast, who is a provider in the city, did send out information stating that they would be limiting data on November 1st to 1 terabyte per month. Just to give you a little information on a terabyte, in the letter it did say that it gets you 600 to 700 hours of video, more than 12,000 hours of online gaming, and the ability to download 600,000 photos. They did note that less than 1% of users use more than 1 terabyte a month. And so what my research found is that what they're trying to do is if you're a high user, they want these people to pay for the high usage that they have. And then people who use less pay less. I did look at kind of what is offered in the city. It does look like our business park, like CCC and Craft Pattern are using Windstream, and I guess that's because Comcast does not provide service out that far. And I know that these businesses have been working to get Comcast to provide them as an option. At this time, it's still not an option. I think they're continuing to work on that, though. The city does have a non-exclusive franchise agreement with Comcast, so any other company can come in to the city and provide service if they want to. I did do some research with a neighboring, the city of Annandale. They kind of had a situation where they weren't getting, the league recommended talking to Annandale because they had a situation where they weren't getting good service at all. They'd be down like 5 to 6 hours at a time. I think that, it took them 3 years of talking or meeting with companies to try and come into the city, also their state representative. They also did $100,000 study to finally resolve this, to kind of get broadband in their, or good broadband in their city, and they're currently getting fiber optic installed. I mean, the difference is that we do have options, they didn't have options. So I guess tonight, I just wanted to bring more information to you for discussion if we wanted to pursue this further. I mean, I don't know if the resident has any more. I just wanted to bring more information back to the council on the resident. I don't know if there's any other, if that answers the question or not. I don't know if there should be a discussion as to how, if we should get involved more. Like I said, other companies can come into the city. It's just, I think it's, unfortunately, it's just expensive for these companies to invest in a rural area.
Discussion? Any desire to move further with broadband for the city? No? Hearing none, I think that's an issue we won't pursue. Okay. Liquor licenses?
Those are just the standard liquor license that we each year have to issue. We issue them effective for January 1st through December 31st of 2017. Same ones as past years.
Motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Melissa?
Aye.
Michelle? Lori?
Aye.
I vote aye. Motion carries 4-0. Okay. Move to the police coverage discussion. We had a special meeting in reference to that. Brought it forward at this meeting. The coverage model provided by Wright County Sheriff was to have a shared coverage from 10 a.m. through 6 for an 8-hour shift, and 6 until 2 a.m. for a shift. Total coverage would be 16 hours shared with Waverly. Currently, we share 8 hours with Waverly and have 4 hours of dedicated coverage. We would move from 8 hours to 10 hours. Waverly would move from 4 hours to 6 hours. Waverly has already approved it. It would not start until mid-2017 in July. And the cost would be approximately $50K annually in addition to what we have now. Further discussion?
Do we need the coverage between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m.? Did they give us the stats on that?
That came out, was emailed out. Did you not see it?
I don't think the coverage is, if we just adjusted the times that we had, instead of adding another $50,000.
The window that we have does not cover our after-school piece. That's a tough piece to cover. I don't know if they would be able to shift that car, because I have car share with someone else. And that's the piece that we don't cover, is that after-school piece. We do have quite a lot of calls during that period, and that's the reason that we need coverage in there. We have a higher amount of calls in the 10 o'clock to 2 o'clock time frame, but a lot of that is calls that are generated because the officer is here. Not necessarily because they're calls that are a need for an officer to be there. Two questions out there. Do we want to increase coverage to cover that now and have that be an additional cost? That's a pretty stiff cost at this point. Do we want to look at trying to change the window so that we have a different coverage model.
I think we need to change the time, see if we can change the times.
It would be nice, but I think it's going to be
I think
very
that
difficult or almost impossible, and I think we explained that at the meeting.
it has to do with them being able to field a half car or a half shift, and where the rest of that comes out.
And quite honest, I mean, yes, it sounds like a lot of money, and it is. But
I've
when you
talked,
break it down, it's, yeah. Oh, go ahead, sorry.
I've talked to some residents too, they don't feel we're getting what we're paying for right now, let alone another $50,000. Because they think that the car should be motoring around the city more than they do, rather than just sit in certain places or whatever.
The cars that they're seeing sitting certain places is not the area, is not our city car. That's the area car that they see sitting out on Highway 12 or at the wastewater plant. That's the area car. So ours, when it's here from 10 in the morning till 2 in the afternoon, it's generally on the move.
But I mean, I'm talking about residents that said they've never seen a cop car go up and down their street. You know,
Well, most
I mean,
people aren't
they've been
home
here
from,
for 5,
most people
6
aren't home
years.
from 10 to 2 though either, so.
Yeah, I
You
think
know,
a
they
lot
was-
of it is it does come down to time. I mean, I see them, but I see them at, I might see them at 10 o'clock at night when I'm coming
Right.
home, but, yes, I might see them from 10 to 2 driving by because I'm at work, but of course I'm not gonna see them from 10 to 2 driving by my house because I'm not there. I think it all comes down to just timing. I mean, you're not gonna see them all the time. And there is a good possibility that there are 2 or possibly more cars in the area. So you honestly don't know which car is the one we are truly paying for. You can't assume that the one sitting there is really ours, honestly.
And we have had some uptick in our crimes as well. More stuff coming out of the city, I think.
Well, how are we gonna check on changing that window possibly?
That would be a discussion with Wright County as to whether or not they can actually do that window.
So why don't we table this until after we have a discussion?
But I think it is also worth noting that if we were to go ahead with this proposal, that it would, like Greg said, it would not start until July, so next year we would only be paying half of that. So it wouldn't be all of a sudden, next year we're paying $50,000 right up front in addition. It would be 25 and then next year, so it would be
In the discussion.
everything up front. It would be a gradual increase with all of the coverage up
We
front.
could, yeah, we'd have to discuss when we have our budget meeting scheduled for the 28th. The good thing about that is you're paying for 2 extra hours and gaining 4,
Yeah.
because we would be sharing them with Waverly like we do now, so.
So it gains its coverage at a lower cost, is what it does.
Well, it kind of does, but we have a dedicated car for, but now we're splitting that car. So,
Yes, but when you
Well-
look at the statistics and also the population, the majority of the time they're going to be here anyway.
We already split the one at night, the one, he said from 6 till 2, and then he split it with Waverly,
Put
so.
that one already.
Throughout that 8-hour period, he's here 4 of the
But
hours.
I would rather have a car be 2 miles away versus 10 miles away if something were to happen.
And I think actually in that 8-hour period that we share with Waverly, I think he's here more than the 4 hours than he is in Waverly. I think he spends quite a bit of time in this area.
And the response time is definitely fast.
Something to think about, I mean, like I said, we have budget discussions, so.
Yeah, I will follow up with Wright County to determine if there's a possibility of changing that window to do the after-school coverage. I think that's the piece that we missed, the after-school coverage. We really need to look at that. So I will follow up with Wright County and see if there's any possibility of moving that coverage window to a 2 to 6 p.m. and listing coverage. I know that, like I said, Waverly did approve it, so they have approved it before Montrose Elementary School.
I just brought this because we've had the 4th, 5th, and 6th graders, technically really the 4th and 5th graders here in Montrose, participate in there for a day essay contest. 7 students participated, so the school did send off 7 essays to the league. And just wondering if we wanted to acknowledge, if city council wanted to acknowledge the 7, how we wanted to do it. Just discussion for you guys to, little input.
Can I interject?
It's been 4 years since he'd done it. It was back when Scott was here. He kind of got it going, and then we haven't really done anything since. But at that time, we looked at all of the essays, kind of chose winners in there, and then invited them to come to a council meeting, and then gave like a $5 Subway gift card.
I think none of them showed up with
None of
it.
them showed.
No, we gave out
We tried
a
like-
certificate and a gift card and nobody came.
Yeah. We tried I think 2 different meetings even
Yeah.
to do that, but
If maybe a select team just meet with them down to school, give them little platters.
we can. I mean, there's 7 kids that participated. It was optional, so 7 kids did choose to participate in it.
It's kind of good to get the kids involved, because eventually they're gonna be
They're gonna be-
grown-ups.
Yeah, so.
We can make up a little certificate and
How
put
many
it up for you.
certificates could be, or even do a proclamation? A proclamation is good. Because certainly in a proclamation, you can declare them as an honorary mayor for the day or something of that nature. So are you going to review the essays and determine one is for the proclamation winner?
We can, I can get them all to you guys, except for when they copied them off. You can't really read them. So, but I can get everybody copies, so that you can all see and you can determine whatever, so.
One that you send them out by email and then rank 1 to 10.
Yeah.
And then the highest number would be the one that receives the proclamation.
I'll give the copies to Nick, to Maggie, to get them all.
Shouldn't we give each one of them a certificate to recognize their...
And you can do a certificate, but the proclamation would be the one.
Picking
It'll
out
be a
just,
one person.
yeah, just getting one person, I don't know.
I think we can acknowledge all of them, but just determine one. Yep.
Don't you do certificates of recognition for the,
Yep.
so there's what, 8 or 9 of them?
7. There's 7 of them.
There's a
Yep.
certificate of recognition for 6 and then a proclamation for the one that we found is the highest.
Okay.
Okay, there are no other open forums. At this point, Andy, you want to give us a reason to move to the closed forum?
Yes.
Closed session.
Acknowledgements first.
Can we do acknowledgements first?
Yep, we can.
Can I start? Okay. I want to acknowledge, let's see, well, Joanne, for her service with the city of Montrose. It was very much appreciated, like Greg said, thank you for that. And all of our election judges, I'm hoping I have them all, but I'm not sure. Dean Bartosh, Doug, Gordon, Drew, Wendy, Maggie, Anna, Gloria, I can't remember her last name. Okay. Joan Bauerschmidt
Jolene,
and Jolene, is that it?
is that 9?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yes. That's everybody?
And Bunny Wright.
Okay. So I just want to acknowledge them because I'm talking with city staff. It was a great group to work with. No complications. Everything ran smoothly. So I just want to thank all those guys.
I'd like to thank Joe again for all your hard work, and Justin and Sean for working through with the engineering project. I know that's been a busy time. Anyone else?
You guys got it all?
But once we scan it in, so we'll do the best. Great. I want to maybe stay to a closed session before I shut the camera off.
Okay.
Smile.
Scan,
Okay, Mayor and Council. So pursuant to Minnesota Statute Section 13D.03, the proposal will be going to a closed session for labor negotiation strategy. The closed session is allowed for open and frank discussion of council of that strategy. We have the final document here, collective bargaining agreement, proposed collective bargaining agreement between the City of Montrose and the International Union of Operating Engineers, Local Number 49, AFL-CIO, which would be effective April 1st, 2016 through March 31st, 2018. I need a majority vote to enter into the closed session, and then the procedure would be to discuss, it does need to be tape recorded still, but we'll have everybody in the public leave, and if you want to vote on this agreement tonight, we will reopen the meeting. I know we have people here who would come back in and watch the vote. So that's really about it. So a motion and a second to enter the closed session would be appropriate now.
Motion moved to a second to a closed session.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 4-0. Move to closed session.
So it's closed session, the tape will still be running.